Welcome back to Make Play Treasure. Today we're reading The Polar Bear by Jenny Desmond. Once upon a time, a child took a book from the shelf and started to read. She read that the polar bear is also called a sea bear and that this huge marine mammal spends most of its life on the ice and snow of the frozen Arctic Ocean. In the spring and autumn, the flexible sea ice can bend and give way under the polar bear's colossal weight. In the summer, there is virtually no ice to hunt across. In winter, the polar bears walk for miles over solid expanses of ice in search of food. Polar bears live at the northernmost point of the Earth in the Arctic regions of the United States, Alaska, Canada, Greenland, Norway, and Russia. In summer, the Arctic sun never sets. In winter, the sun never rises, and the only light is from the moon stars and green glow of the northern lights. Winter temperatures are so low that breath freezes instantly. Harsh winds, blinding snowstorms, and treacherous ice form the environment in which polar bears live for many months. Yet, remarkably, they maintain the same body temperature as our own. Big, with heavy limbs, they have 2 layers of fur, a tough hide, and a thick layer of fat under the skin. Polar bears evolved to have long necks, so they can keep their heads above water while swimming and reach into holes in the ice for seals. Male polar bears have stronger necks than females for fighting other bears. Males also have larger bodies, longer teeth, and broader heads. Polar bears have huge paws that turn slightly inward. They can be up to 13 inches long, the size of a large dinner plate. While the paws are good for digging and swimming, they also act like snowshoes, spreading out the bear's weight as it moves across deep snow and fragile ice. Should the sea ice begin to bend, a polar bear will crawl on its tummy. Each paw has 5 sharp, strong claws and foot pads that are covered with small bumps, much like the surface of a basketball. These claws and pads allow for a strong grip on the ice. When wet, polar bears shake water and ice out of their fur just like dogs. The polar bear's fur has 2 layers, a soft woolly undercoat and a top layer of water-repellent hairs that are oily, stiff, shiny, see-through, and hollow. A polar bear looks white in bright sunlight, but its coat is really yellow or gray and its skin is black. Polar bears are about the same length as 2 7-year-old children, top to toe. Males can be 9 feet long, while females are usually no more than 8 feet. An adult male might weigh 1,000 pounds, which is around the same weight as 27-year-olds. Adult females typically weigh half that, 500 pounds, unless they are pregnant. Then they can weigh as much as a male. A polar bear's eyesight is similar to our own, but their eyes have an extra layer that works like a pair of built-in sunglasses. This layer protects their eyes from strong Arctic light and helps them to keep their eyes open underwater. A polar bear's hearing is also similar to our own, but its sense of smell, its strongest sense, is extraordinary. A bear can smell seals from several miles away and relies on the scent to find a mate, detect danger, and locate its cubs. When polar bears stand up on their hind legs, it's so they can smell the air even better. In the wild, adult bears usually live for 20 to 25 years. Solitary creatures, they spend a lot of time alone. Their main reasons for being with others are mating, raising cubs, or feeding upon large food sources such as beached whale carcasses. In zoos, where polar bears aren't subject to harsh weather conditions and don't work to find food, they can live into their 40s. Just as we can know the age of a tree from counting the rings inside its trunk, the rings inside a polar bear's tooth indicate how long it's been alive. The best time for polar bears to hunt is in late spring, when the ice starts to melt and seals can be reached more easily through the thinner ice. The polar bear's main food is the ringed seal, but It also eats bearded harp and hooked seals, along with the carcasses of beluga whales, walruses, narwhals, and bowhead whales. Finding food can be difficult, but polar bears don't have to eat every day. A single adult seal can satisfy a bear for up to 11 days. Only when summer arrives and the seals move out into the open water do polar bears largely lose their food supply. Then, a bear might not eat for 3 months as it waits for the sea ice to form again. Polar bears have 3 ways of hunting. The most common is waiting by a hole or at the edge of the ice for a seal to surface. Then the bear will grab the seal with its teeth and pull it onto the ice. Another is sneaking up on a seal that is already on the ice and then running at full speed to catch it. A polar bear can run faster than the fastest human, but only for a few seconds. Finally, if a polar bear smells a seal hiding just below the ice in a berthing layer, it will rise up on its hind legs before crashing down through the ice for it. Seals are wary creatures and faster swimmers than polar bears, so once out in the open water, they are difficult to catch. Polar bears kill only 1 of every 20 seals they hunt. To survive, a polar bear needs to eat around 40 ringed seals a year. Bears always eat the fat and skin first, since those provide the most energy. They also get their water from the seal's fat, since the sea ice is too salty to drink. A polar bear's face is usually stained with blood after eating, but since bears are fussy about cleanliness, they always wash when they have finished. A bear will either wash the paws and nose in a nearby pool or roll around on the ice, rubbing its paws and face in the snow. Polar bears like to roam on sea ice where there are lots of water channels, cracks, and pools, as these make seals easier to catch. Throughout the year, a bear will stay within an area of ice that is usually hundreds of miles across that is called its home range. Here, ice constantly moves, breaking and shifting with the sea. These sheets of floating ice are called ice floes. As ice floes break apart, they can move quickly, carrying a bear far from its home range. But since adult bears have an excellent sense of direction and are strong long-distance swimmers, they are able to find their way home. Their fat and the hollow hairs of their coat help them to float. Their rounded front paws give them a powerful doggy paddle, and their back legs help them to steer. Polar bears can hold their breath underwater for around 2 minutes. In the spring, during mating season, a male will follow the scent of a female until he finds her. The bears will then mate, after which the male will often have savage battles with other males to keep her. After 2 weeks, the male polar bear will depart, scarred from the bloody fighting. And after mating in the spring, a female will only finally become pregnant in the autumn if she has enough stored fat to support a pregnancy. She therefore will spend all spring and summer eating. If she is underweight in the autumn, then she won't become pregnant and will continue to hunt throughout the winter. Female polar bears dig birthing dens in sloping snow or peat banks to provide a warm, sheltered place for their cubs. Once inside, the female won't eat for many months. Her cubs, usually born in pairs in December, will stay with her in the den until spring. At birth, cubs are pink, the size of a guinea pig, and covered in soft, fine fur. Their eyes remain tightly closed for their first month. Bear cubs feed on their mother's rich, fatty milk and gain weight quickly. After 3 months, when they are strong enough, the family will travel to the sea ice so the mother can hunt for food. Cubs spend a lot of time playing, chasing, wrestling, and sliding down small hills. They also watch and copy their mother, who trains them to lie still while she hunts. They sometimes become boisterous, all the same, and can scare the prey away. Cubs leave their mother after 3 years, but have yet to become good hunters, so they have to rely on scavenging until their skills improve. Polar bears do not hibernate. They like to sleep, though, and can sleep almost anywhere at any time. Like humans, polar bears sleep in different positions. On warm days, they might stretch out on their back with their feet in the air and lie down on their stomach. Or lie down on their stomach. On cold, stormy days, they curl up with a paw over their snout for warmth, letting the snow cover them like a blanket. Most bears sleep a lot when there isn't much food or during bad weather. In areas where the ice melts completely in the summer, a polar bear may spend nearly half its time asleep. Since it's hard to find food without sea ice, it makes sense to save energy and rest. Just like polar bears, people also curl up in cozy places, perhaps to fall asleep over a favorite book and begin to dream. The end. Hope you like this book, and remember to like and subscribe so you can keep up with our reading events and activities. Catch you next time on Make Play Treasure. Bye!